I'm Chris, and this is MMA for You. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC 207, Nunes versus Rousey, which happens on Friday, December 30th. But before I get into that, I would like to plug a couple things. The first thing will be my author's website at www.chrismoldong.com. The other thing I'd like to plug is my storytelling podcast, which involves me reading like some of my stories and doing manga reviews. It's called Chris's Storytelling Corner, and you can check it out on YouTube, PodBean, or SoundCloud. Links to those will be provided in the description. Okay, on to this card. We lost a good couple fights on this card. We lost Jessica Andrade versus Marina Moroz, which honestly looked like a pretty good fight. And Cain Velasquez versus Fabricio Verdum, 2. So, you had 13 fights and went down to 11. I have to say, though, as far as the main card goes, I think it's still pretty strong. One reason I'm saying that is that as far as the main card goes, you have pretty much all fighters. I don't really know where Saffiedine or Kim are in the rankings, and now Rousey might not be in the rankings anymore because he's been gone for a year. But for the most part, you have top 15 fighters fighting on the main card. That's always nice. The prelims, Hendricks versus Magny, that's a good fight. Top 10 fighters in the weight class. Carlos Jr. versus Vettori, good. That's probably two of the better prospects at middleweight fighting against each other. On the Fight Pass prelims, Nunes versus Oliveira, that actually looks like a fun action fight. Price versus Thatch could be an action fight. It's really hard to say. Garcia versus Pyle is not one I'm particularly looking forward to, just because Pyle is just very long in the tooth, and Alex Garcia has just looked very uninspiring, I guess, in the promotion so far. But let's get started. Okay, so Amanda Nunes fights Ronda Rousey for the women's bantamweight title. So, here's some things with Ronda Rousey. One, she's been gone over a year. Last time she fought was against Holly Holm when she got knocked out by a head kick. Since then, she's made a couple celebrity appearances here and there and whatnot. She's made some appearances in like independent wrestling shows. Just being in the audience or being in like the corner of like Shayna Baszler or something like that. But for the most part, we don't know what she's been up to. We don't know what her training's like. It's already a red flag that she's training out of Glendale under Tarverdian. I understand her like being very loyal, but it's not a great camp. And their boxing, all their fighters have this unusually wide stance. Their sense of distancing isn't very good. Punching mechanics aren't even good. Rousey's punching mechanics are pretty bad. She throws wide. She brawls. She just bum rushes. But she does have some power. On the ground, we know what she can do. She gets you up against a cage. She'll usually go for like a head and arm throw, trip, or some other type of judo style takedown. She does not tend to shoot for doubles or singles. And once she gets you to the ground, she usually ends up in like a side mount or even a better position than that. And what she's usually trying to do is get the armbar. Could be to her own detriment at times. I remember when she went for the armbar against Holly Holm. But, and she actually had the back, and there's an argument that she could have just kind of stayed on her back instead of went for the risky armbar, Standing also with Rousey, she's good in the clinch as far as clinch striking goes, especially with her knees. She hits actually hit a really good knee on Alexis Davis. Uh, you know, knocked out or got the TKO win over Sarah McMahon after getting the knee to the body. So she's really good there. She has a good knack for actually clinch striking, as well as just having her judo to fall back on. Amanda Nunes trains out of ATT. She's a strong boxer for her division, and she has legit knockout power. Her ground game is getting a lot better. Her takedown defense has been greatly improving. I remember when she fought like Miesha Tate, Tate wasn't able to take her down. Sarah McMahon actually had a really good hold on her, and Nunes was able to get out of it, and eventually finish her. The biggest problem with Amanda Nunes is just cardio. Now, Ronda Rousey doesn't exactly. We don't know her cardio either as far as 5 rounds go. We don't exactly know Nunes' cardio at 5 rounds either. And that's the thing. We have seen Ronda Rousey in the 3rd round against Miesha Tate. The second time they fought, she still looked pretty good. Managed to get that armbar still in that 3rd round. Ronda Rousey pushes a huge pace right from the start of the fight. The other thing with Rousey is that she is not doing any type of media. I don't know if that's good or bad. She seems to hate the media, but could also help with her training and focus. Don't know. Nunes, though, her cardio just, like when she fought Shevchenko, 3rd round, won the first 2 rounds pretty well, easily. 3rd round just died. I mean, just she was on the ground and half guard and just getting ground and pounded. And then when she fought like Kat Zingano, that 1st round, she was just like, she almost finished Kat Zingano in the 1st round, and the next 2 rounds, it's just like she was just like a punching bag. Well, not a punching bag. She was just getting taken down easily, ground and pounded, and just seemed kind of defenseless. So this fight is really interesting because Nunes is better on the feet. Rousey is arguably better on the ground. Oh, yeah, I'll just say that much. Rousey's been out for a year. Nunes has cardio issues. Mental games are kind of up in the air for both, really. So this one's kind of tough for me to call because we all know the avenue that Ronda Rousey has to win fights: takedown, armbar, done. You know, possibly catching some sort of strike. Like I said, she does have power in her strikes. Technique-wise, not the greatest as far as punching technique goes, but Rousey does have power. Nunes also has power too. I don't know if Ronda Rousey's going to stop bull rushing as well. So, with that said, though, I mean, I got to go with the person that is just more active. Both have weaknesses, but I'm going to go Amanda Nunes to win this one by KO or TKO. I think she can definitely catch Rousey coming in if Rousey just starts bull rushing. It depends if Nunes can defend those takedowns. That's a tough task for Nunes. And we'll just see what Ronda's like mentally. Maybe she comes in guns blazing, takedown, armbar, done. I mean that very easily could happen. But I don't even know if Rousey's going to fight after this fight. Like, maybe she will. I don't know. Rousey's quite the enigma at this point. Nunes has shown a bit more consistency as of late. So, Amanda Nunes, KO or TKO. Next right after that, for the men's bantamweight title, Dominick Cruz fights Cody Garbrandt. interesting fight. Cody Garbrandt, strong boxer. He moves well. Um, and he hits hard. And he does actually have, if I'm not mistaken, he has a wrestling background too. His takedown defense and even his offensive wrestling aren't that bad. Um, he seems to have a pretty good chin on him. Tough to say. There's reports that he gets knocked out in the gym and whatnot. Really tough to say. But for the most part, Garbrandt's a really interesting challenge for Cruz because Garbrandt doesn't kick a lot. He just boxes. And, he, like I said, he moves well. His footwork's not bad. His wrestling's not bad. So, it's a really interesting challenge for Cruz. Cruz is the UFC bantamweight champion, men's bantamweight champion. We all know him he moves a lot. He doesn't always throw the straightest punches. Like, he'll kind of swarm and just throw these loopy punches. He has this real in and out style. He's a good wrestler, and he has really good head movement too. Like a lot of fighters try and headhunt him, and the thing with Cruz is he's just really hard to hit. Biggest problem with Cruz, I'll say, is that he's not a dangerous fighter. Like, he's not someone that, like, he dropped Favor. Don't get me wrong, but Faber's getting older. It's not like he hasn't dropped opponents, but he doesn't do it like quite often. And he's not, like, I wouldn't say he's like a particularly potent finisher as well. But that's probably the only weakness with Cruz. He moves a lot, throws at a relatively good pace. Looks like he's tired, but he's not. That's the thing. He has this weird hands down style. So it's like, it's really hard to catch Dominick Cruz clean. Not to say it hasn't happened, but like, it's just very tough to do. I'm actually surprised more fighters don't try and attack his body and legs. Especially attack the body, because it seems a bit futile to headhunt the guy at this point without mixing it up to the body and legs. I can understand why fighters don't go for leg kicks against Cruz, because he has a really good knee pick. Someone told me it's a knee pick. So, I hope I'm right there. I'm not great with names of takedowns and whatnot. But his timing for that knee pick is really good. I mean, like, seriously, it's like the only takedown he goes for, too. And he always seems to get it. So he has really good timing with his takedowns as well. Interesting fight here. I don't want to say it wouldn't surprise me if Garbrandt won, but I see the avenues for Garbrandt winning. Like, I really do. I wonder if he can actually match the footwork of Cruz or not just get hypnotized. That's the other thing too. I don't know if Garbrandt's can get hypnotized. But for the most part with Cruz, his head movement, his overall defense, I think judges like his style. He's hard to hit. He times his offense really well. I gotta go with Dominick Cruz to win this one by decision. It's just, he can time takedowns well. He times his strikes well. He gets out well. And it's a very hard style to deal with. Next fight after that, TJ Dillashaw fights John Lineker. Fun fight. I really like this fight. Dillashaw isn't unlike Cruz in the way that he moves. I like Dillashaw in the sense that he doesn't have what I'd call wasted movement and off-balance strikes. Whereas I feel Cruz, he's moving all the time that he's striking. And I think that actually decreases Dominick Cruz's power. TJ Dillashaw knows when to plant. He has a really good head kick. He'll switch stances in mid combination, and then Dillashaw's also a really good wrestler. Really, he has good takedown defense, good scrambles, and good wrestling himself. So, I really like Dillashaw. As far as like his combination strikes, changing it up and whatnot. But John Lineker, man, I mean, this guy's a machine. You know, weight issues aside, his boxing, he's almost it's almost cheap. You know, it's almost a cheat in a sense with John Lineker because he has such an incredible chin. I kid you not when I say that because there are times when he fought like Dodson and some other guys where he gets hit hard. Guys would get knocked out. You know, he takes strikes like nothing that other fighters get knocked out from. You know, because the fact of the matter is, Lineker is a technical brawler. He will eat one to take, or he'll take one to like give two or three. One thing about Lineker is that he aims for the body. Most fighters just don't aim for the body. Lineker seems to love aiming for the body, and he's generally the shorter fighter, so it actually works pretty well for him, especially moving up to bantamweight. He has some pretty heavy hands. He is really hard to take down. One thing that guys who have beaten Lineker tend to be able to grapple with him. You know, be able to take him down. He's really tough to take down. He's generally tough to keep down as well. But yeah, and Lineker is hyper aggressive. He's always pushing forward. And like I said, his chin is like stupid tough. His cardio is actually really good. And he looks good at bantamweight, I gotta say. With that said, though, I see Dillashaw being able to just get in and out, make some takedowns as well. I don't think Dillashaw is going to be there to get hit. A lot of times that Lineker will try and hit him. And in fact, that like I said, Dillashaw can go for his own takedowns. He strikes well in combination. He's kind of got to watch out from like getting inside because sometimes he'll kind of like rush inside in a sense, and Lineker could potentially catch him. But for the most part, I do see Dillashaw being able to frustrate Lineker and get the decision win. Next fight, I thought Dong Hyun Kim fights Tarec Saffiedine. Tough fight for me to call actually because I'm actually pretty high on Saffiedine, but like he has disappointed at the same time. Problem with Tarec Saffiedine is for as technical as he is and relatively defensively sound, he doesn't always throw when he needs to. Sometimes he's just on defense, just on counter striking, or just on offense. But he doesn't always mix it up. Like he's always in one phase of the game. As far as technical striking goes, Tarec Saffiedine is really good. His leg kicks are deadly. He has some of the best leg kicks there. Like I said, some of the best takedown defense I've seen. But at the same time, it's kind of a problem because dudes just lean on him against the cage and he'll defend a takedown, but it's like, okay, you're not winning the fight, The problem with Saffiedine, though, he's just not a potent finisher, Doesn't hit particularly hard. Chin is a bit questionable, too. Like, he got wobbled by Ellenberger, knocked out by Rory. Even in Strikeforce, there's some guys that would just catch him and they're just like, oh, what? But yeah, that's the thing with Saffiedine. Good takedown pounds, strong leg kicks, good overall defense, very technical, but he doesn't throw a lot. Dong Hyun Kim, strong judo, really good top control, good ground and pound, and he's been trying to actively become a more exciting fighter standing, which has been to his detriment because he has gotten himself knocked out because he gets very wild standing. He's big for the weight class. So this one's actually really tough for me to call because I don't know if Kim can take Saffiedine down and keep him down. And Kim is also one of those guys whose chin is somewhat questionable too. Kim at this point has probably shown more power in his striking than Saffiedine, but he hasn't shown great defense. Saffiedine, for the most part, is pretty defensively sound, but he just doesn't always throw much. And when he's defending, sometimes he can just be caught just defending. With that said, though, I am gonna go Tarec Saffiedine to win this one. Just on being the more technical guy and the more defensively sound guy. Hopefully, he can get leg kicks on Kim, defend his takedowns, and maybe do well on the feet. But not confident on this pick whatsoever. Next round after that, not confident in this pick either. Ray Borg fights Luis Smolka. So this fight's interesting because both these guys on the ground are like, I think are pretty amazing on the ground. Both of them are like crazy good scramblers. Um, like if you take Smolka down, he'll like end up on top a lot of times. If you take Borg down, he'll end up on top. Both of them are really good at taking the back. Um, and they're just squirmy guys. They are such good scramblers. Strong, BJJ and grappling skills. Wrestling wise, though, I would say Borg is probably the better wrestler. Yeah, probably better at being able to take the fight to the ground than Smolka. The problem with Smolka is that too many times he allows himself to get taken down. He'll even, against Moreno, he'll even get, he has put himself in guillotines more times than one would think. Like against Moreno, he got guillotined. He kind of puts himself there because he's so confident and be able to get out of those bad positions. When he fought like Neil Seary, is the same thing. Like he was getting arm and guillotined all the time. Smolka was. But Smolka is just so confident about getting out of it. Standing's interesting because like I don't really know who has the edge here. Like I really don't. I guess Smolka has the length. Um, Otherwise, I can't really say. These guys are just really similar. I think Smolka's a taller and lankier guy. I'd say Borg is probably has a better offensive takedown ability, and Smolka can kind of allow himself to get taken down too much for my liking. Both these guys are crazy scramblers, great at taking the back, just good submissions. Um, so with that said, I'm gonna go Ray Borg to win this one by decision. Yeah, I'm not particularly confident in that pick though. Okay, on the FS1 prelims, Neil Magny fights Johny Hendricks. So, Johny Hendricks, former UFC welterweight champion, he has had weight issues. Many weight issues as of late. His motivation for fighting, from interviews I've read too, has not seemed particularly high. He he lost to Gaslam. He's on 2-fight losing streak now. Lost to Wonderboy and Gaslam lost in his last two bouts. Magny most recently lost to Lorenz Larkin. Tikio, if I'm not mistaken. Those leg kicks just ruined Magny. Magny, he's real long. His takedown defense is pretty good. His own offensive takedown ability is solid. He actually has a knack for taking the back. One problem with Magny, though, is, man, for a guy that tall, man, he gets hit clean a lot. Or not a lot, but a good amount of times that I'm not always comfortable with Magny's defense sometimes. Like Gaslam dropped him. Lawrence Larkin just had its way with him. But Magny is kind of like, I would consider him something of that jack of all trades, master of none. But then he also has that length that really bothers opponents as well. You know, his jab's improved quite a bit. His overall boxing has improved, and he fights pretty well in the clinch as well. Whether it's takedowns or just offense from the clinch. But he doesn't specialize in any one particular area. And like I said, he is a guy that just get hit with some sort of like power, like overhand or something like that. I've seen that a couple of times. Johny Hendricks is a really strong wrestler. He's not. He's not like he's also pretty good in the clinch with his short uppercuts. His whole kickboxing was good, but like I haven't seen it lately. He used to have like the most devastating left hand too. I haven't seen it lately. I don't know what's happened to it. I do worry about it though because like Magny just seems susceptible to the overhand strikes, and Hendricks throws that overhand left quite a bit. So that kind of worries me. The motivation thing with Hendricks, though, like, I can't help but just feel that, like, he might be a guy that has one foot out the door. The weight issues as well. He just has not looked particularly good as of late. Neil Magny, yeah, he lost to Larkin. But for the most part, is pretty consistent, you know? Uh, Guys that the fact that they gaslit him is actually that's a pretty strong win at this point of the game. Um, but yeah, Magny, he's tall. His work rate's pretty good. I don't know if he'll be able to defend takedowns, but I can see him get back to his feet when he's taken down, and just kind of use his range to bother body Johny Hendricks. So I'm gonna go with Neil Magny to win this one by decision. Next, we have that Antonio Carlos Jr. fights Marvin Vettori. This one's tough for me to call because Carlos Jr. his BJJ for MMA is really good. I mean, he's big for 185. One thing is, he's big for 185. Takedown, especially against the cage. Take the back. And get the rear naked choke. I mean that's his game. That's the strongest aspect of his game. Stand up is still something that needs work, as shown against the Kelly fight. Then he ended up getting knocked out. His cardio is still something of a question mark. Marvin Vettori, I believe, is training out of Kings now, right? His striking has been looking better. He has a wicked guillotine, and he's just a strong guy and young for the weight class. He's actually both these guys are prospects I'm actually pretty high on. Vettori especially. At this point, Vettori is also fearlessly aggressive. He fights like a young guy with like a lot of potential. Just really aggressive. All offense, still needs work on defense. That makes this kind of tough though because it really, in my opinion, it just depends if Vettori can defend the takedowns of Carlos Jr. I mean, if he can, I think he beats him up on the feet. If he can't, I think he gets his back taken and choked out. That's really how it goes, in my opinion. I'm gonna go Vettori to win by TKO, though. I think he'll be able to defend the takedowns. Carlos Jr. is not the quickest guy. And Vettori, he's really aggressive. hits pretty hard. Training at a good gym now, Kings, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so yeah, Marvin Vettori by TKO. Not not particularly confident pick because it's a clear path of victory for Carlos Jr. And also, I don't know if Vettori has the skill to defend against Carlos Jr.'s strengths. I'm betting on it, or not literally betting, but like I'm supposing that he does, but I just don't know. So I thought Alex Garcia fights Mike Pyle. Mike Pyle, real crafty fighter. He's a true veteran. His stand-up's good. He's kind of a slow starter. His wrestling is good, and when he's on top, he can be real crafty. The problem with Mike Pyle, though, is that his chin is terrible. This guy has been fighting for a very long time, and it's starting to show. His durability, for a while, his durability has kind of gone. Um, these days, it seems like any power shot to the face knocks him out, and he doesn't react well to getting hit. The problem with Alex Garcia is he is like the most low volume guy out there. He's a guy that he'll get a takedown. He's strong. He's super strong. He'll get a takedown and do nothing with it. And then on the feet, he just throws so little. You know? So that's a problem with Garcia. It's just that, and his game hasn't really improved, and his cardio is terrible. Both these guys have weaknesses, but like Garcia's just like, I think he's a younger guy, but at least he's a less sharp one guy. So I'm going Alex Garcia to beat Mike Pyle by KO or TKO. Like I said, at this point it seems like any power shot that Pyle takes at this point will knock him out. So Alex Garcia by KO or TKO. Next right after that, Niko Price fights Brandon Thatch. So it's tough for me to call because I've seen Niko Price. I saw two of his fights, right? One thing that's of note, the height difference, it's not so bad. I think Niko Price is listed as 6 foot. Brandon Thatch is like 6'2", 6'3". That guy's huge for a welterweight. I actually think Thatch would find more success at middleweight. Niko Price has never been past the second round in his first fight in the UFC. The thing with him is he's pretty aggressive, but man, his defense is bad. I saw one of his fights, man, he took a good amount of shots. One thing about Price, too, is when he has his opponent against the ropes, I mean, he's good at going for the finish, but man, his hands start going down, and he just starts brawling. And I've seen him get hit in those particular exchanges as well. Ground game, I've seen Price get taken down. I've seen him be able to get like the double against the cage, but nothing that I've seen that's particularly impressive with it. It's like wrestling or grappling. It looks like he can, grapple. Brandon Thatch looks like he cannot grapple, man. Dude, oh man, that last fight he had where he got like arm triangled. I forgot the dude's name that he fought. But dude, he fought someone, name I forgot. I think an Afghan fighter, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong there, actually. Could be very wrong there. Anyways, the guy he fought was not a known wrestler or grappler. Gosh, man, I forgot his name. He's a cool fighter, too. But anyways, Thatch was just getting taken down at will. Seemed to have no ability to get back to his feet when he was taken down. And eventually got submitted by a guy known for striking, who also has cardio problems. Thatch has no takedown defense, no ability off his back. But if he can get his offense going, he hits super hard. He has some really crazy knees. If he can get the clinch, you're probably going to get kneed and he could get knocked out. he's an okay puncher, but he hits really hard. This one's tough for me to call because, like, there's some red flags for Price. In a sense, it's almost like Thatch. It's like dude's never been past the second round. When Thatch came into the UFC, he had like this record of like one fight went to decision, and the rest were like first round finishes. And like Price is like he's been to the second round once, and the rest are like first round finishes, and all by KO or TKO. So he's almost like how Thatch was when Thatch first came into UFC. And that's, like I said, kind of a red flag. If it stays standing, I think hopefully Thatch can get the fight that he wants, but I don't know where his head is at. I was super high on him as a prospect when he came in, but since then he's just looked pretty bad. He's fighting a guy that seems similar to him, but Thatch at the very least has experience fighting UFC caliber competition. Niko Price at this point, first run to UFC. So with that said, I'll go Brandon Thatch to win this. I'll even go by KO or TKO, thinking that he'll get the fight that he wants. But Thatch at this point is a guy I cannot trust to win consistently. And finally, on the fight past prelims, Tim Means fights Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Tough one for me to call because Oliveira has some pretty good Muay Thai, but in MMA he kind of just shows himself to be something of a takedown, ground and pound. Like when he fought like Will Brooks or when he fought like Muntazri, it's just like get him against the cage, take down, ground and pound him, take the back if he can. And that's kind of his game. He has the power and the striking. He's just a really strong guy. But, like, on a technical level, he still needs some work. Tim Means, his striking is actually pretty good. His defense isn't that bad either. That's the thing with Tim Means. He moves his head pretty well. He knows his range really well. And if he can get into the clinch, he has some pretty mean, knees and elbows. And they are fight ending. He is a pretty polished striker, I think, in comparison to Oliveira. I'm curious if Oliveira can take Means down. Means has shown at lightweight his takedown defense isn't very good. At welterweight he seems alright here, and working on that aspect of his game. This one's tough for me to call though because Oliveira is good. He can strike pretty well. He actually wrestles a lot, and he has the propensity to take the back. Tim Means looks like he's improving upon his grappling. His clinch game is really nasty, and his punching game's good too. He hits hard as well. So with that said, I am gonna go Tim Means to win this one. I'll go by decision, but not super confident in this pick. Okay, to recap on the main card, I have Amanda Nunes beating Ronda Rousey by KO or TKO. Dominick Cruz beating Cody Garbrandt by decision. TJ Dillashaw over John Lineker by decision. Tarec Saffiedine over Dong Hyun Kim by decision. And Ray Borg over Louis Smolka by decision. On the FS1 prelims, I have Magny beating Johnny Hendricks by decision. Marvin Vettori over Antonio Carlos Jr. by KO or TKO. Alex Garcia beating Mike Pyle by KO or TKO. And Brandon Thatch over Niko Price by KO or TKO. And on the Fight Pass prelims, I have Tim Means beating Alex Oliveira by decision. Possible KO or TKO as well. So, that's pretty much it for my predictions for UFC 207. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And please check out my author's website at www.chrismodon.com and my storytelling podcast, which can be found on SoundCloud. YouTube, and PodBean. And yeah, that's been much it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.